Thank you so much. It's a very good, I don't know whether it is morning or evening, but it's a very good day for me today. And welcome to the Legal Mind episode 5. Today we are featuring Faiza Musa. She's working as advocate of the High Court and human rights defender.
Office.
You don't want to be a defender anymore.
Everyone is a defender.
She's telling me, David, I am working as human rights officer at Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Today we're going to focus on the important issue that is trafficking in person and smuggling in person of persons. Faiza is going to explain to us how, why, when, and why the Commission is very interested to curb the trafficking in person and smuggling. Again, we are going also to focus on Chapter 3 of the Constitution that entails Article 12, Article 13, Article 14, 15, about the citizenship. We are also going to look at the Counter Trafficking in Person Act. Faiza is going to tell us when it was enacted and why. So stay tuned. This episode is bigger than the other, and I hope you are going to enjoy. Kuna msichana anaitwanga Triza, ni kama aliniroga. So anytime I want to call Faiza, Triza comes first, lakini pepo mbaya. Wacha tuikemee. Karibu sana Faiza.
Asante sana.
A long time?
Yes, it's been a while.
Yes. How have you been?
I've been good. Just out here protecting and fighting for human rights.
Human rights, what? Issues, sindio?
Issues, and
Mtu hawezi jua hatujaongea for almost a year.
Yes, definitely. So it's been a while. And I was even surprised that you reached out at some point to Kasema, we need to do this. So
Yes.
But it's a good opportunity to be here. At least we share information with members of the public, and they understand some of the avenues that they can be assisted.
I always remember the great minds, and my favorite people are the legal minds, and you happen to be one of them. So let's just start away this issue of the counter trafficking in persons. Just tell us the reason why this act was enacted and what is this? Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, David. So basically, the Counter Trafficking in Persons Act is an act of parliament in Kenya. It was enacted in 2010. And basically, it's to curb the rising cases of human trafficking. In Kiswahili, it's called ulanguzi wa binadamu. Yes. So you find that there were so many rising cases of human trafficking, but there was no law that would protect also the victims. So this act came into force to just give a guideline and also how these victims and also stakeholders can engage in supporting and making sure that these victims get assistance at the earliest opportune time. So basically, for you to understand the Counter Trafficking in Persons Act, you have to understand trafficking in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah, because people confuse it. And you find that I remember there was a media report way back, and they had merged all these languages, the terminologies, in one document, and you couldn't even tell if this group of people were trafficked, were migrants, were refugees. So it was hard to tell. So one of the things that we do as a commission is to ensure that even members of the public understand the terminologies and what they entail. So basically, trafficking, as it is captured in the Act, in the definitions of the sections, it's the transferring. One, it's the recruitment of a person, then you transfer.
Yes.
Once you transfer, there's the harboring, the person who will keep them. And then now there's the exploitation bit.
Yeah.
So for you to understand trafficking, there are two components that have to be met. That is either labor or sexual.
Or sex.
So people are always exploited either through labor or sexual for them to be deemed as an act of trafficking. But the Act has clearly defined it in that context. So the entire chain of traffickers,
Yes.
from the time you recruit to the time this person is exploited, there's a chain of people. And you might also have been a victim if you have a house girl and you have confiscated their documents.
Yes.
Because if this person was transported and they didn't know what they're going to face where in their destination point, and also they are maybe held in a closed setup, all their documents are confiscated, and then you take them and you exploit them either sexually for maybe prostitution or working in there are these brothels, and then you gain from it, but then they don't, like they're living within your terms. Everything is within your condition. So basically, in simple terms, that is what trafficking it is.
So in simple word is like we are transporting someone from one county to another or one country to another, basically for two reasons, either for sex or for labor.
Yes.
And by doing this, you are the person benefiting. So for example, I take 3 women to Nakuru.
Yes.
I have someone who is going to host them.
Yes.
That is now the hub aspect.
Yes.
And then now these women are only entitled, the only time they can enjoy is when they are given food as they prepare for the act that is waiting for them. Let's say, for example, the sex aspect that you've discussed.
Yes.
And then now it is me and the person who's doing the harboring now are benefiting. And then these 3 women are not benefiting. But again, what if the women are also benefiting in terms of after doing that act, they're getting some pay from that? Can it also be considered as trafficking? Or what, apart from that, I am benefiting, I am transporting them, and then now I benefit a lot from that. What again makes it looks like, no, this is not, or in simple terms, if they have consent, what now happens when they are ready for that business?
You find that when you read through the act clearly, yes, the Counter Trafficking in Persons Act, a victim of trafficking cannot consent. Because one, the circumstances they're in, they're under duress, they're under threat, they're either coerced. So the act has excluded consent for victims of trafficking. Whether they consent or not, it's still a trafficking case. So you find that mostly these people who benefit from this kind of setup, they have smuggled these people. So there's that difference of smuggling of migrants. So you come in, you have been smuggled, but then there's something financial or material benefit. But then for victims of trafficking, there's no benefit. Totally no benefit. And there's no consent. And the act has clearly stated a victim of trafficking cannot consent. Because already the circumstance they're in, they are not in the capacity to consent.
The environment is hostile.
The environment is hostile. Okay. The mode of handling of those adults or children is also under coercion or under duress. And if you have taken my documents, you are defining how I'm going to live, how I'm going to stay, how I'm going to eat, then I have no right over my freedom. Definitely, I'll have to abide by your rules.
So the consent alone cannot help one escape from the penalties and the fines?
There is no consent in trafficking.
That is good. So, and again, let's give it a practical example. We've seen in the newsroom or in our news, so many people that women or men are coming to complain that they took their sisters and daughters to Saudi Arabia or the
Qatar, Gulf,
or in Gulf for maybe, for example, that the lady was told she's going to work for the either manual job, but it was specific that I'm going to work as a house girl. And then upon reaching, now the job description is being changed and there is nothing I can do about it. But you've said there is no consent in trafficking. So in that case that mimi nimekubali nimetoka Kenya, nimeenda Saudia kufika, kandarasi yangu au mkataba wangu umebadilishwa, sasa sina uwezo na stakabadhi zangu pia zimechukuliwa na sasa sina uwezo. Ila tunachobaki nacho ni kwamba nizingatie yale ambayo yanaambiwa pale na niweze kuyafanya. Na hata wakati mwingine wanajipata katika hali ya sintofahamu, wengine wanauawa, wengine wanapigwa, wengine wanapewa adhabu kali. So can it also be part of the trafficking in person?
Yes, it is. Because you find that trafficking haifanyiki Kenya peke yake.
Yes.
And one thing that you need to know, Kenya is a source. Tunatoa watu wanatolewa Kenya and they are trafficked to other countries. Kenya is a transit point. Watu wanapitia Kenya kwenda other
Mataifa
countries,
mengine, yes,
mataifa
yes.
mengine.
Yes.
Then Kenya is also a destination. We have heard of so many foreigners found in rooms in Nairobi, wamefungiwa kwa manyumba. We have found there are so many cases reported in the media, watu wamepatikana mahali wamefungiwa, Ethiopians, Eritreans, people from Myanmar, unapata wamefungiwa mahali. Kumaanisha Kenya is a destination point. Kuna watu wanaletwa Kenya kufanya exploitation sort of. So you find that somebody can leave Kenya as a migrant. You and me are migrants.
Yes.
Tumetoka location fulani, tukakuja Mombasa kufanya kazi.
Okay,
so those people can leave Kenya as migrants. Na migrants, there are two ways, regular and irregular. Regular amepitia airport akacomply, si ndio? Akapeana documents zake kwa immigration, amecomplain na immigration laws na akapata akwadi na work permit, ameenda kufanya kazi mahali fulani. But then sasa now getting to that destination point, the terms of the contracts change.
Yes.
Kumaanisha already aspects of trafficking have started manifesting. Because once the terms have changed, I live by what you determine or what you state. So ukitolewa pale, then you're exploited for labor, or unapata wengine, they get to that country, they work here, then they are trafficked to other regions kuwafanyia kazi watu wengine wenye they were not part of the contract.
Yes.
So you find that when this happens, and that's why we always advocate for safe migration as an institution. Kwa sababu wakitoka Kenya kwa njia ya halali, it's easy for them to be tracked hata wakiingia kwa shida. The minister because once you read the Counter Trafficking in Persons Act, the stakeholders were involved, including the Ministry of Interior, the Department of Children's Services, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. At that instance where this person is at risk, na amesema he's been trafficked, the minister needs to facilitate documents, kama hana documents, for their return and to gain entry back to the country. For that person any transaction that you have with a victim of trafficking, and in case death happens or they suffer a lifelong illness yenye itakuwa incapacitate, then you're also criminally held for that offense, according to the laws of Kenya. So you find that trafficking in person is a sort of an organized crime, because you don't work alone. And for an organized crime to be, you have to work 3 or 4 people.
Yes.
So mtu anaweza toka hapa legally as a migrant, na aende nchi ingine na akuwe trafficked. Yes. So that's what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's something that you are saying which is very important. When you say I and you are migrants.
Yes.
I thought you meant people coming from Congo, Brazzaville. Some of us came from the South Sudan. The history aspect. I didn't know coming from Migori to Mombasa, I was also a migrant.
You are. Because migration is movement from one place to the other.
To the other.
Yes.
Oh, not necessarily from one country to the other.
No, it can be internal or external.
Or external.
So wewe umekuja huku kufanya kazi, kuna mtu amekuja huku maybe ndoa. So that is migration. So you are a migrant. Sisi tumekuja hapa kufanya kazi.
A very good example.
Yes.
More so for that ndoa aspect. A very good example. And again, now let us look at this way. Yeah? So does it mean most of the Kenyans, more so from the coastal region, who have been looking for the greener pasture in the Arabs, the UAU areas or nations, these people, almost half of them have been trafficked?
So I can't say it's a yes or no, because there are those who left the country to work legally. But wale wenye walifika pale and contracts zika change or something happened, wakatolewa kwa now where they were supposed, their destination areas to other destinations, those have been trafficked.
Okay.
And that's why it's very important for, once they leave Kenya, watoke na njia halali. There's the National Employment Authority, where we lodge distress calls in case of emergencies. We assist clients or petitioners to lodge distress calls. So kumaanisha ule mwenzake mwenye ako Kenya anafaa kuwa informed mahali yuko.
Yes.
But then if they go through irregular means, that is now irregular migration.
Yes.
Ametoka maybe through vichorochoro flani, then it's hard for it to be tracked. And that's why you find that wakati wanapata shida, it's easy, kama there's that tracking like records, it's easy for the minister, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and also the Immigration Department to facilitate documentation in case zimekuwa confiscated. But if you go through irregular means and then umewekwa njia enye you can't even communicate, it gets hard for the Kenyan counterparts to track.
Okay.
Kwa sababu umefichwa mahali na hatuwezi track mahali uko. So unapata even the immigration, the ministries involved, even the National Employment Authority, inakuwa ngumu kutrack.
Okay.
Ukiingia kwa portal ya National Employment Authority, jobs are advertised there, Kenya and abroad. There is a place where you can lodge distress in case of emergency. For the Kenyans who are abroad, sasa the Kenyan is the one who is lodging.
Yes.
So if you go through other avenues, na kuna hadi zile agencies zenye ziko verified, they've renewed their license. So kumaanisha if you're in distress, they'll just go to this agency and ask them where they took you. But if you go through illegal means, the irregular means, now we can't track the National Employment Authority, even us, when you report to us, it gets hard to track the migration enye ulienda nayo. Because unaweza kuwa labda ulipitia Tanzania then uka exit, we can't tell where you went to. Yeah, so it gets challenging.
Okay.
So in an instance where you're also trafficked in that country, it gets challenging for the government of Kenya now to come in handy because hakuna records ya how you left Kenya. That's why we always propose ukitoka Kenya ukue umetoka kwa njia
sasa,
halali.
Wakati tulikuwa tunazungumzia swala hili la watu kutolewa Kenya kwenda katika mataifa ya nje kutafuta riziki, and then you said it so well that when you are moving to the other countries, ensure that you follow all the protocol and all the legal procedures so that even if the government wants to help you, there's a way that the government can have your documents, even if the one that you had have been confiscated. So in this case, the people who have been trafficked from Kenya to other countries, there is no legal documentation. We don't know where they are. But the families are saying, these people are taken to Uganda or Tanzania or Ethiopia. They were taken on this date. This is the flight they used. And now we are not seeing them. There is no any record of them. We don't know where they are. Does it mean that in this instance, that these people used the illegal way of getting out of the country, the government does not see it fundamental to pursue Article 21 of the Constitution, which is to protect the fundamental rights of human?
Okay. Thank you for that, because one critical thing you've mentioned, they went through the airport. Kumaanisha, the Immigration Department has their details.
Yes.
Exactly. So the government, the reason why we push for people to live through the legal means, when they leave, they're migrants. But kuna wengine circumstances change. The reason why we push for people to live through the legal means is because time enye utapatwa na
shida. Ndio.
Shida.
Yes.
When you're in trouble, there are those who text their families. Maybe I'm being held in a certain place on WhatsApp. Tumesikia hizo story mingi, like unasikia mtu amefungiwa mahali. We receive them even in our WhatsApp at the commission. And then once you receive them and you reach out to the family, if the family has information vile walitoka Kenya, then it's easy for the government to track. But you have asked about Article 21 of the Constitution. The core duty of the government is to protect. But then apart from protecting, it's your own duty as a person to protect yourself. Na to protect yourself ni kuensure wakati unatoka Kenya, kuna mtu anajua mahali umeenda. And that's why the government, through the Ministry of Labor, ilikuja na National Employment Authority. That website iko na job opportunities for abroad. Iko na mahali you can lodge a distress in case mtu wako ako juu, ako ngambo na amepatwa na janga fulani. So you have to lodge. So kumaanisha kama ulipitia kwa hiyo site, agencies wenye wako kwa hiyo site, you can verify kama agent mwenye unaenda naye is somebody who is verified by the government. Kama hayuko kwa hiyo site, jua tu wakati utapatwa na shida, ni bahati kukutrack. So it's the state duty to protect. That is the core duty of the government. And you find that when the United Nations was coming up with and also passed the Palermo Protocol in human trafficking, it mandated every state to criminalize trafficking of persons, na to come up with sheria to protect victims and also criminalize it. Kumaanisha kuna wale watashikwa na kuna wale wenye watakuwa victims wenye wanahitaji msaada. And this, when Kenya ratified it in 2005, it pushed now for the counter trafficking in persons to guide now the government on how to handle these people. But sasa Kenya tuko nao wale wenye wametrafikiwa na kuna wale wanapitia hapa. Once they are arrested, tuseme wamepatikana mahali, most of them they are found in dire conditions. Wakipatikana pale, the
offenders or the victims?
Definitely the victims, because they are always wanapatikana in maybe during these routine road checks. Unapata labda mtu amefungwa kwa container. You have to take them into protective custody. Kama polisi atawachukua, ajue vile atawasaidia. There is the national referral mechanism
as a quarantine.
Yes. So huwa wanachukuliwa for the process to be jump started, because it's a multi-stakeholder approach. So unapata hata for the government to help, they have to have information. Kama hawana information, tutakuwa tunabahatisha. Yes, it's the government's duty to help, but tutakuwa like the government will work with consulars, labda wa Uganda waseme there are people who are there na nasikia wamepelekwa wa another country. But then when you have that information where they were taken, it's not easy for the government to act and repatriate them. Na pia
as you explain this, I think it is very important even for the ladies or young men who want to go work outside, more specifically for the greener pasture, because they're saying Kenya, there's lack of job. Even if you've studied, getting job is another job. It's another job description, by the way.
Yes.
So even if you want to go to any other country to look for the greener pasture, the best thing you can do is just to check the verified agency, so that when you leave, the government, under the obligation of the Article 21, can get it easy for you to be tracked and be absolutely a very good English indeed.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the smuggling, and allow me to ask you as a layman's person. You've discussed about the smuggling, but you were also talking about moving from one area to another. So explain to us this, and I want to give you a practical example. In Mombasa or Nairobi or other areas, I went to where Kinango and other parts of coastal region. You could see people coming from Rwanda, Burundi. They are selling kahawa and mandazis. Are they trafficked, or those are now the example of smuggling? As you explain for us, what is now smuggling?
You see, for smuggling, then I'll explain about the East African community, because what you mentioned, they are from the East African community. For smuggling, there's financial or material benefits. I want to use a classical example. Wewe una hold ofisi fulani. You have power to influence a certain process. Nataka kwenda Uganda mimi, si ndio? Na sina hizo makaratasi. Nakwambia David, shika hii 100,000. Unitengeneze hizi makaratasi haraka, mimi nataka tu kuingia Uganda. You get it? Wewe using your power, obviously utaniambia 1,100 haitoshi ama ongeza. I'll add, there is that financial bit of it or material bit of it. Whatever happens to me after the border, it's none of your business. So I've assisted you. It's like I've smuggled you into Uganda, but whatever happens to you there,
my business
it's
is
none
just
of my
to make
business.
you,
because my transaction was to facilitate your movement. So I've smuggled you out of the country. So ukifika pale, upate working conditions where you're trafficked. Tuseme mtu amekutraffic ama ameku-exploit either through labor or sexual.
So it looks like smuggling is also a way of trafficking.
Yes, it can change to trafficking.
So it is a process.
Exploited. It's, trafficking, if it doesn't, it's not initiated from the, tuseme kama haijaanza, unajua kuna wale wanatrafikiwa from the word go, nachukuliwa na peano kwa mwingine. But naweza toka hapa nikienda kufanya kazi kama migrant na nikuwe trafficked in that country. Na naweza toka kama smuggled migrant through umenisaidia kupata makaratasi, obviously si makaratasi genuine, then umefika pale mwenye amenichukua najua hizi makaratasi si genuine, I can use you how I can. So na kutumia vile nataka. Then
so the circumstance changes. Even smuggling can result in true trafficking. That is
trafficking,
good.
Yes. So for
Yes.
these locals, now let me answer for this East Africa. There's this African community. I'm trying to get the exact term. The East African, there's a treaty that has been signed by the East African community
Yes.
where as a Kenyan, Ugandan, Tanzanian, unaweza fanya kazi popote. So long as you have the work permit ya kufanya pale. And that's why you see there are so many, these are migrants. Wametoka kwao, wakakuja kufanya kazi Kenya. Unaelewa? So they go to the immigration department to confirm their identities and also to regularize their stay in Kenya. So wanakuwaga na period fulani ya kufanya hizo biashara. But wakipitia irregular means, labda wamepitia border, ameitwa na mwenzake, then they are arrested. There are only two options. If they have their passport, the court can order the immigration to regularize their stay ili wafanye biashara. But if they don't have their passports, then it's an automatic repatriation back to, they are deported
So
back
what
to their
happens,
country.
or you will also tell me that maybe the constitution of every nation differs. You see, at some point, Kenyans get it very rough to stay in Uganda without legal documents, but it's very easy for Ugandans to stay in Kenya without legal documents. What could be the problem?
It's
And
easy.
because this treaty was signed between the president Kenyatta, Magufuli, and other president during those times. Kenyatta, Uhuru, not the father. Yeah, it was signed between the era of 2013 to 2022. Yes. So what happened? Why is it sometimes you see Kenyans can't work in other countries within the East Africa community, but others can work in Kenya freely?
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to answer that because I think it's more of diplomatic relations. But the last time kulikuwa na elections Tanzania, tulisikia kuna Wakenya wanafanya
Yes.
kazi Tanzania. Na kuna Wakenya pia wako Uganda wanafanya mabiashara. In fact, there's a lady in Bungoma who has so many businesses na anaheshimika sana Uganda. So it's more
issues,
of diplomatic relations. So
Oh,
that
I
one I
thought
can't
smuggling
respond.
could be another aspect, but you've explained it so soberly and nicely that it's a take home. So let's take a look at an example. Trafficking in person and human rights trafficking. Hii business sasa unasikia kwamba kuna hospitali moja iligonga vichwa vya habari kwamba ukienda huko Figo ni milioni yako moja moto, alafu inapelekwa mahali, and then it later turned out that the people who opt to sell their body parts were not paid. They had consent, wewe toa Figo, leta hiyo pesa nitabaki na moja nitajisukuma nayo. Later on wanakuwa wanadanganywa, hawafanyi chochote. So what is the difference between this and trafficking in person about we just discussed?
Basically, that is what you're saying is organ trafficking.
Yes, organ trafficking.
Right? Organ trafficking is part of human trafficking. And I don't know if you open it. Mahali wanasema the exploitation, they have listed what exploitation is.
So anybody who can get that act very fast.
Let me just check. Because they have listed it, and the advantage of this act is that it's very clear on identification and how to identification, criminalization, and also how to handle the victims. So
I'm
trying to get it. So you found the organ
in which section?
So you find that let me just check. Because for example, if you check section 5, promotion of trafficking in persons.
Yes, I'm there. Promotion of trafficking in persons. So the act is saying knowingly leases or being the occupier thereof permits to be used any house, building, or other premises for the purpose of promoting trafficking in persons. Is it the exact thing we are talking about?
So that is mentioning. I'm trying to
yes, it is.
find the.
Check at section 10. I think that is it. Trafficking in person for organized crime.
So where in the course of the prosecution under this act, it emerges that as part of the activities of now you find that trafficking in persons has to be more than 3 people. Like it has to be more than 3 people, but for it to
Yes.
be an organized crime, 3 people have to be part of the transaction. So you find that we deem trafficking as part of an organized crime, because for that transaction to happen, then more people are involved in committal of that offense.
Okay. I think
So
we
I'm
can
trying
tukipata
to-
hiyo the exact
Yeah,
when we
when we
get it,
get
because
it, then
the
we
act
can just go
is
back.
almost how many pages? This is too big. It is
It's
18
just
pages,
18,
and
18
because we only
pages.
have 45 minutes,
Yes.
hatuwezi tumia kuitafuta,
Yeah.
utaipata.
Yes, so I've gotten it. In the
Yes.
definition of terms, exploitation, it's keeping in a person in a state of, includes but not limited to, keeping in a person in a
Yes.
state of slavery, subjecting a person to practices similar to slavery. And you know slavery is an non-derogatory
Yes, in the
right.
Constitution, under the Bill of Rights. Yes.
Yes. Involuntary servitude, forcible or fraudulent use of any human being for removal of organs or body parts.
Yes,
That's the part
yes.
you have asked. That is a
Yes.
mode of exploitation. Yes, so it's part of human trafficking, forced labor, child labor alongside others. Yeah, so it's in the
That is
definition of
good.
terms.
And
Sorry.
now
Yeah.
let's take a look at the cases that now we have as the nation, and now the fines and the penalties before we move to other discussions. So how many cases do we have as per, let's take even at the statistics of 2024 or 25?
We, according to the
Yes.
crime researcher, we approximate around 30, there's around approximately
Cases.
35,000 cases of
So
trafficking.
35,000 are victims.
That is victims from way back from 2018 to around 2024. And mind you, people are being trafficked to Kenya, and also people are using Kenya as a transit point and a destination every day. And more prone areas are border points. We are bordering Kenya, Somalia, we are bordering Sudan, South Sudan, we are bordering Ethiopia, we are bordering Uganda,
Tanzania, yeah.
we are bordering Tanzania. Most transit through Kenya, through the Moyale, from Ethiopia, Moyale, they get into Nairobi, Mombasa, Lunga, then they head to Tanzania as they go to the Southern Africa. Most of them are being trafficked to South Africa. There's also that transit point from Malaba, Uganda to Malaba, Luahaha border,
Yes.
Busia border. There's this other side, Lunga, transiting to Kenya. So you find that the fact that Kenya is a destination point, it's a source, and it's a transit, it makes the statistics quite high. Because even recently, I think the Kenya Airways repatriated around 158 Myanmar residents, citizens, back to their country who had been trafficked to Kenya. So based on the fact that we are these 3 sources, or we are more of a transit area and a destination point, our statistics are a bit high. And that's why we can't deal with trafficking as a single entity. It has to be multi-stakeholder, and also it has to involve also other nations. Because if your citizens are being trafficked, then we have to liaise with your country
Before we
come
look
up with
at the
ways to
challenges that
curb it.
the stakeholders like you, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, let us look at why do you think that the stakeholders are interested, like more so you guys, to curb this?
You find that before I answer why we want to curb it, you asked about the penalties.
The fines and the penalties, yeah.
The fines and the penalties. Any person arrested as a human trafficker cannot get a list. The Counter Trafficking in Persons Act has placed the conviction at not less than 30 years, or a fine of 30 million Kenya shillings, or both upon conviction. So even a person who is harboring and recruiting, they also have a criminal liability, and it can amount between 10 to 30 million.
Wait a minute. Any person
or both.
recruiting, harboring, transferring,
yes, and exploiting that chain all of them are
And are
criminally
entitled to 30
liable.
million fine or 30 years.
For the
Yes.
person who is trafficking, it's either 30 million fine
Years in
or
jail
30
or
years
both.
or
Yes.
both, or it can lead to a life conviction. Yes, a life sentence. And any person who is recruiting that transaction, the range is between 10 to 30 years. Or both, the amount is either 10 million
I
to
think Kenya should
30
also
million.
understand the reason why the penalties are so high. It is because you said that trafficking in persons is only subjected into two things: exploitation for sex and for money,
Labor.
which is labor now.
Yes,
Yeah.
labor.
So sex, utapata
Yes.
pesa. Even these people who are participating in harboring, they also get something. The people who are doing the transaction are also getting something, and the
They are
people who
also
are now
doing
recruiting
something.
are also getting something. This is why now
Yes.
all these four
The
channels
transaction.
are subjected to those tough fines and jail terms. That is now perfect. Now, why are you interested? Okay.
We are interested because trafficking, as I've stated, from the initial stages
Yes.
up to the rescue, it's a dehumanizing situation. Because one, your right to dignity, literally your chapter 4 of the Bill
Yes.
of Rights, it's compromised. Your right to dignity, your freedom as a person, your security. Some are tortured along the way. So you are taken through a dehumanizing treatment. And slavery is part of it, because once you are forced to work into, you have been placed into a slavery position. And slavery is one of the derogatory rights in Kenya. There are only
Slavery,
3:
torture,
slavery, torture,
yes,
freedom from torture, and the
habeas
writ of
corpus.
habeas corpus. Yes,
So
there are
slavery,
only
torture,
3.
and the rights of habeas corpus. We state that
Yeah, the
you should
writ.
produce someone
That person
within
dead
24
or
hours.
alive.
Okay.
Yes.
I knew this one from
So
Francis
those
Auma.
3. Yeah, he's a pure HRE.
Yes.
Yeah, so the fact that stakeholders
Yes.
are interested is because there's a human being before the violation. And we would love that we live in a place where every right of a person is being respected. So when somebody is taken all through this process, before anything else, the first thing they always undergo is
Torture.
psychological assistance, because they
Yes,
have gone
yes,
through
yes,
torture.
yes.
You can imagine somebody transiting from Ethiopia, spending 3 months, the Ethiopian calendar, transiting through the bushes, eating water and maybe bread. All
So,
these people are tortured
in a simple term, this is just a
mentally.
modern slavery, which we
Yes, it
which we
is.
left 200 years ago. This is just a slavery. Yes, yes,
Yes.
it is a slavery.
Yes, it is.
So let's look at the challenges that affect the stakeholders in terms of making this issue to an end. What could be the first challenges? In my thinking, I might think these people who are being trafficked,
Yes.
lack of opportunities in the land, making them feel like when they are taken outside, they might get greener pasture. Therefore, they are not
Yeah, yeah.
taking the responsibility as a security to them. Aseme, kuna mali ulisema security starts at you, inaanzia na wewe kwanza, ndio
Yes.
inaendea hata serikali kukulinda. Mimi nikisikia kama juzi Wakenya wengi walikuwa wanaenda Russia, wanaambiwa hapo kuna allowance ya 300,000 kwenda kufundishwa bunduki 1 month moto, alafu kwa mwezi unapewa 300,000. Haki angai, hata mimi ningeenda. So you see that lack of opportunities within our nation. I think it is also part and parcel of the challenges that make these people feel like they can get greener pasture, and then later
They
it
can
turns
get
to be
out, yeah.
trafficking in person. So what are the challenges?
Yeah. So basically, the Russian thing is, it's a matter that is
Yes,
subject
yes, yes.
currently in court. But some of the challenges that we have noted interacting with some of these victims, mind you, some of them, if they come from wanatoka nchi za nje, we have to look for interpreters to interpret their language, of which tena uwezi jua wanaongea nini. Unaona sentensi ni mrefu, wewe umesema kitu fupi.
For
But
example,
some of the
unapata
challenges,
Dinka a tribe in South Sudan, na mnataka kumsaidia, inakuwa ngumu sana. Yes.
yeah, so kuna wale translators tuko nao, but the challenge yenye tumenote because throughout this transaction ni pesa mingi ulipwa, a lot of money, because these traffickers are not doing this for free. For example, you've been trafficked from maybe you need to pass through 4 traffickers. Wote watahitaji pesa. Nalipwa na kuhandover, nalipwa na kuhandover. But one thing we have noted from all these victims, most of them wanatafuta greener pastures. Yes. So wana transit to nations where economy at least ina thrive. And that's why utasikia wengi wanaenda South Africa. Kuna wale wanaona Kenya imedevelop sana. So watakuja Kenya.
Hawana taarifa.
Yes. Nyinyi sasa watakuja Kenya tuseme. Alafu unapata sasa the other thing, kuna wale tuseme wanataka ku change life yao, like waishi maisha mazuri zaidi. Kuna wengine wana ile tu pressure ya nasikia huko twende tukajaribu maisha ya huko, unaona. So through this easy thought process zote unapata wana land kwa hiyo syndicate ya trafficking. But then sasa challenge ya stakeholders yenye tunapata is that when you sensitize people to share information, because we depend on the community. Watu ukuja kwa community kwa sababu wewe kama jirani umeona watu 10 asili yenye si ya Kenya, ama watu 10 wa Kenya, ama wamekaa kwa room moja, kila wakati wanafunguliwa kama like wanafunguliwa time yenye wanajisikia, lakini kuna ile ukiona tu una realize there are measures put in place to curb the movement of these people. So reporting, it's the first initial stages yenye inasaidia kusaidia these people quite early. So most people don't report. So unapata by the time saa zingine hata by the time report inafika mbele, some people have even passed on because of the conditions. Labda wamefungiwa and they could not get fresh air. So unapata some of them even die through the process. The other thing, this is a multi-stakeholder approach. Funding. Immigration have to have funds to facilitate even the repatriation of these victims. For example, there's a national assistance trust fund under the Counter Trafficking in Persons Act. It's supposed to assist victims of trafficking. Some of the money they get there, it's from the proceeds of crime from the traffickers. Zile labda walilipwa and everything. They are told to return it and it goes to the fund. But then if the fund doesn't have money and you need people to repatriate, then inaingia kwa mfuko ya serikali. So unapata it strains their
the biggest
budget.
Problem one is that looking for greener pasture is one of the biggest problems. 2 is the language barrier, and then now 3 is that people fear to report cases when they see that there's a character happening within the locality, they fear reporting those cases, so that when they report or when the institution gets the report, it is too late. Some have died, some are in the condition that also have to take the commission or any other entity, another process of taking them to the hospital, psychosocial support will also be required, and so many other things. Now the biggest one is now the lack of resources. Yes, so this also makes it very difficult for the institution like you to come up and curb this once and for all. So there's something that you told me off mic, that most of these victims are subjected into a very secretive approach, that they are protected. You can't see them. Even the court process on their matters are not public. Why?
You see, when you go through a traumatic experience, definitely psychologically you're not okay. You are affected. And there's a process that unafaa kupitia ndio udebrief tuseme. But then remember, those transiting, maybe they are going for labor. You have cut short their journey. So niko na ile machungu, mbona umenikatizia safari yangu na nilikuwa naenda na nimelipa pesa mingi mahali nimetoka. So you find that there are traffickers involved in this. Na mention it's not one trafficker. There are so many. There can be even 5. So we will the DCI anti-human trafficking will arrest mwenye wameshikwa naye, si ndio? But then remember, before him there were others. So when you expose these victims and they are known, then you're exposing them to more danger. So wakienda hata kotini, the judge can opt even to listen to the matter in camera, ndio wasi-expose. But then even for ukisoma the act, the Counter Trafficking in Persons Act, even officers handling them, whether state, non-state, you're not supposed to reveal the identity of the victims because you're exposing them to more danger than good.
Now, somebody has seen a different character within the area, and you said that before, challenges, one of them was people not reporting. Now, what are the avenues that David has seen? Hapa mali naishi hapa Kichaka Mkwaju, kuna watu kuna Wazanzibari wameletwa hapa na huenda watapelekwa mahali kufanya kazi ambazo sivyo. So what are the avenues? Where should I go to? Should I call 911? Niende police station? Where should I start by taking my information to so that these people can be assisted? Yes.
Assisted, yeah. The good thing is that the Kenyan government imekuwa na a very good structure in terms of both the national and also the local government, the local administration. So to identify our victims, definitely utanot watu kadhaa wamefungiwa mahali ama some foreigners wamejaa mahali kila time. There's that restriction utaona. Ama hata mmoja atakuongelesha kwambia tumeletwa hapa, passport zetu zimechukuliwa, ID yetu imechukuliwa. So unajua this person is already vulnerable. The first step as a person, kuna wale wazee wa mtaa na kuna wale chiefs. That is the local administration and the Ministry of Interior. Kama uko karibu na police station, the nearest police station, you can call 911. These are fast responders. You can go to the nearest civil society organization. You can come to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. You can go to the DCI. Any office that you see near you will be the first responder. And the moment they get that information, they'll react because they'll ask you questions. Wako wangapi? Kama the trafficker is maybe living around, they are trying to find ways of kupata hiyo information on how to deal with that situation. And also they'll ask of the vulnerability. Kuna walemavu, kuna watoto, kuna wazee, kuna wale wenye in case of an ambush watashtuka. So these are some of the questions that they'll ask to ensure that once the operation is started, ama wakati watachukua hatua, at least they don't cause more danger than good. But any responder mwenye utapata karibu throughout that chain from the chief, polisi, mzee wa mtaa, wote wanaweza saidia ku fast respond to that situation.
So do you advise, because we are living in Kenya, and I think this small amount of months and years I've lived in Kenya, I can go to the chief. Mwambie mkubwa, sasa iko watu hapa, mimi naona hawa watu ni ulanguzi unaendelea hapa. And then you report, aende achunguze apate ni ukweli. Na yeye aseme sasa wewe unafanya ulanguzi, wewe nipatie laki yangu 2, hii maneno mimi ninyamazie. So in such scenario, do you also have to go to report to the EACC, or reporting to multiple agencies is advisable in this case?
When you find that there might be interference at the ground level, you can proceed to another body. Yeah, na wakati unaona maybe the chief ametumia mamlaka yake vibaya ama a public officer, then there are bodies. There's the EACC will deal with the corruption, and then there's the Commission on Administrative Justice that will deal with the abuse of office of a public servant, because a chief is a public servant and because wako chini ya Ministry of Interior. So these avenues, when they know, hata hakuna mtu amekuzuia kutoka hapo ukaenda ukaambia polisi,
uende kwa shirika.
No, ukiambia polisi, definitely they'll act. So definitely they'll act because polisi wata activate, because there's a department ya polisi yenye ina deal na trafficking, the DCI anti-human trafficking, and also the child protection unit for kids who have been trafficked. So unapata the first point of contact huwa wata react, but ukiona like these people are not reacting and the situation is dire, then you can move to another body yenye una feel you can get assistance. But pia tunatry ku avoid forum shopping. umekuja KNCHR, umeenda organization nyingine, so unazunguka tu kitangazo kitangaza,
maybe
but
this
then
organization itaomba kitu kidogo.
itaomba kitu kidogo. Yeah, we understand the fear of Kenyans, but these first responders like they understand. That's why hizo maswali zenye watauliza, more so the police, the DCI, wakiactivate hiyo operation yao, there are critical questions they'll need from you. They will understand how they're going to conduct the rescue and also
so is there any protection for the whistleblower?
Yes, though the whistleblower policy bado haijapita, but then if you feel your life is at risk, then you can there's the witness protection agency enye way ina protect any person who has shared information that might be critical yenye itamweka at risk.
I wanted to say something, but
so
vizuri nisimeacha according to sawa tu.
So there's the witness protection agency. So once una alert these agencies that nimesema lakini naona maisha yangu yako hatarini, then there are remedies that you can get ya kusaidiwa ili maisha yako.
Can you use pseudo account to brief the entities about the nini? Maybe because you are not even trusting the whistleblowers, which the law is not around the protection, Witness Protection Act which is there, but niliona juzi, sitaki kuzungumzia hilo swala, mtu aling'olewa meno, but I don't want to discuss that, huh?
That is,
so do you guys also promote using pseudo account to report? Yes,
to report. Yes. If you're not comfortable reporting matter na jina yako, as the commission, and I know most entities zenye zina take confidential information, you can report as an anonymous person, so long as you don't give false information. Yes, just give the right information. Useme me, I'm not comfortable being exposed, and we'll record the information as anonymous.
Very good. Lastly, you spoke about the disability, children and people living with disability. I think there is, I don't know whether it is stereotyped ama ni ukweli kwamba watu wengi ambao wanafanya ombaomba ambao wanajifanya ni walemavu wengi wametoka nchini jirani, na wengi wameletwa na mtu ambaye anafanya hiyo kazi kama kazi yake. Kulikuwa na documentary ilifanywa na a lady from the BBC anaitwa Mwangi, but we are still seeing these people loitering around exploiting money from Kenyans. So do you think that all this avenue put in place, all the stakeholders put in place, the government ability and every effort, it is still no veil?
Okay, I can't talk because squarely what you're talking about squarely falls under the Department of Children's Services, because kila county, kila sub-county iko na offices za watoto, na kama maybe they are trafficked, I can't even verify because I can't talk on their behalf, but if the children are trafficked and used for child labor, then it's also a form of human trafficking. But then this one I leave to the purview of the Department of Children's Services. Sabu, they're the ones mandated to deal with children cases in their various counties and sub-counties. So
upambane na wao.
So if it's a human rights violation imeripotiwa kwetu, we act. But then we act alongside these bodies. So we don't act as a standalone. Lazima tukue na other bodies that we engage with them kama matter falls squarely outside our mandate maybe. But because it's a human rights issue, then we have to loop in other stakeholders.
I think that is the best point to leave at. So next time, because this thing is very big and huge, and so many people are not understanding it exactly, so we must have another session for this, and now we discuss at large those cases, and now the reason why this thing happened so much. We've discussed the reasons, and we've also discussed the challenges, and the efforts that the government and the commissions and any other entity putting in place to ensure that this menace is being curbed in the country. So as we wind up, your last parting shot.
In fact, I've just remembered there was to correct you. They are not people living with disability. They are people with disability.
They no longer live with them now.
You're not living with the disability. You have the disability. Yes. So it's people with disability. And right now the act has been amended and other forms of disability have been added, even intellectual. Yeah, so my parting shot, my parting shot is that
Wait, Faiza,
human
the
trafficking.
intellectual one, see a madman.
There are other. You should go
That
read
act?
the national the Persons with Disability Act of 2020. I think it's 2023, if I'm not wrong, or
I love how it
2024,
has
if I'm
been
not wrong.
beautified that now a mad person can be called a person with disability on intellectual capacity.
Go read the act.
Yes, yes.
But they're not living with
They
it.
have it,
They
yes, yes,
have it.
yes, yes.
So yes. So basically, as a parting shot, human trafficking is the worst form of violation that can never happen to any person, because we are all prone to some of these things. And once people identify victims of trafficking, then they can follow these procedures. They can reach out to us, the commission. They can reach out to other, even the civil society organization, the police who are near them, so that we can be able to assist these people. And people should not fear. There are agencies that protect the witnesses. Even you can go to court and testify. There's that like a small box where even your voice is altered so that they don't know it's you. So trafficking, it's a multi-stakeholder approach. We can't say that we are dealing with it alone or the DCI is dealing with it alone. So it's a multi-stakeholder approach to curb this. It's a more of state-to-state also approach, because there are those victims who come from different countries. You find we consult each other. We have the DCI Anti-Human Trafficking, the Child Protection Unit, the KNCHR, the National Gender and Equality Commission, Commission on Administrative Justice. All these stakeholders have to come on board. And we also sensitize the media on reporting, because you can't merge trafficking, smuggling, refugees, asylum in one sentence describing a certain group of people who maybe were found and they are victims maybe of trafficking. So we have been also sensitizing the media on how to report depending on the terminology, so that they understand that a certain group of people are termed like this, and this group of people are termed like this. So for the coast office, we are just within town, just opposite
Yes.
Pandia Hospital, 10th floor, and I can share our contact. That is 0757 or cost@kenchr.org, or they can also report to our headquarter, which is the complaints@kenchr.org, and they'll be able to get assistance. If you feel the fear that reporting will expose you, then you can reach out to us, and we reach out to other agencies to assist. You can also report to the DCI Anti-Human Trafficking. They have offices in every police station within various counties.
Thank you so much. Faiza, I stand guided by leadership. People with disability, not living with disability.
Yes.
I stand guided.
Yes.
Mine is just to say thank you for watching, because this was a fundamental one. I have learned a lot. You know, I started, I was green, but now I can challenge. I can even act on behalf of somebody, but I don't want to be the other guy. What do you call
The other
people?
guy.
Masqueraders, huh? People who are purporting to be
Yeah, masqueraders.
advocates. Yes, they are not.
And
It's a
it's a
criminal
criminal
offense.
offense.
Yes, I don't want
Yes.
to purport to be one, but now I can advise one or two people on concerning the Trafficking in Person Act, na hiyo ingine pia, na hiyo ingine. So our fifth episode was fine. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll bring her back to discuss more and more. Remember, she spoke about the asylum, najua wengi hawajui. She spoke about the refugee, mnakumbuka tu Kakuma peke yake, and there are so many things that you guys don't know, that through the legal mind, we are going to unpack them for you. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.